Dr.Hc Adolf Benza, cursus honoris Fulbright, Columbia University, Columbia College of Physicians Surgeons, Bologna University, Arco Gymnasio, Bologna Anatomy, and Fulbright Forum, Art and Sciences Academy, Bologna, and Transformation, Thomas Masaryk, Dr.Hc, Bernd Stern, Dr.Hc, Zurich, and Transformation, the Paradoxismus of Newtonianismus, Aristotelianismus. To my friends Karol Getzi, Monika Bazova, Katarina Hanushinova, Transformation of the Contract for Life, Status Quo at best, Optimus at Praxis, Masterpieces of modern painter of modern time. To my colleagues in history, the humiliation of Adolf Benza and family is Benza, as People magazine said, and Oxford Fellowship, which was taken out of the Wikipedia review. It's quite interesting. So did the Slavin monument that Stalin, Brezhnev had when I was 6 for Czechoslovakia first painting award. Communist murals, Alexander Vika Brezhnev government buildings, marble slabs of bronzes from Vladivostok to Vienna, modern Serbia, Croatia, Macedonia, Romania, Bulgaria, Latvia, all the way to Crimea, and history of Brito-American, Franco, Spanish civil wars, in praxis history, to Ottoman Habsburg Empire of Neutrality, and the Russian Imperium of Federated Republics. Communist Revolution as a communist painter in 1966. Won the first place for Czechoslovakia painting modern revolutionary communist paintings. I was the ideal. I was not an ideologue because I didn't have a choice of the political status quo that I was born into. And I believe that American painters and artists have the same feeling, that they're born into a political context of policy. And the rhetoric surrounding my colleagues at Harvard, Oxford, Yale, and Oxford Club in Florence, Fulbright Forum, Columbia, Princeton, Dartmouth, Orozco Siqueiros Rivera, Benza, and Buonarroti Bramante Bernini Benza, is that Columbia was the first sculpture school. George III, modern Brito-American Civil War, was there so that America wouldn't really become in 1860 the monumental power it's today, 200 years later. But these are all very sophisticated maneuvers in modern history and status quo policy. But what would you expect from a great genius and painter post-Leonardo, who exiled the third party at Breton Victoria Club? There's a reason for this. There's a reason why the French Louis XIV was his friend. All these reasons why being a painter is not as easy in a genuine credo of freedom of modern democracy. Objectification is a very difficult process, and I expect honorarium and integrity from all of you. I do not expect humiliation, deceit, because I can pick out the three manifestations of Abraham politically, religiously, in New Testament, Old Testament, and the phenomenon of the philosophical abstraction, the theory of Aristotelianismus, XXX, as transferred in the modern Bologna Wall address senators at the colonial imperium America Brito. How this really comes into parliamentary politics and congressional politics, especially when you have an American Aesthetic Association, Contra Concept, and Ad Reductio Absurdum, and then the communist aggression of a revolution at complete anachronic censorship. This leads to all kinds of political scheming, and basically conformists, Buñuel said, are fascists. America's nomenclatura. I don't mean that my colleagues are fascists, but they really are in a sense, because They are conformist and don't speak the open truth of the quadratic cerebellum colossus, neurological sociology, and the divided principle of imperialist politics. Police state. I from Mosaic Academy have a police honorary doctorate in drug cartel, body cartel, and arms cartel from Peshawar CIA, Vladivostok, NASA, etc. The over of presidential palaces and exhibitions in my revolutionary murals, Eisenhower and Heisenberg, transformations into sociology as full fathom 5 optological universum, rotundus universale, not optological concilium, theory of law, theory of dialectics, and third party speaking de facto after the dialectic has been introduced, forms it into the third party of authoritative autoritas law, and transforms. Modern painter has no guilt, no reason, because praxis is virtuous in its creative cognition. Dioptria is not preformed, and it doesn't scathe mafia, corporate scathing of preformed dialectics and preformed prepositional hierarchy. Just because one is not famous or is famous or infamous rises from the bottom to the top immediately, because the hubris and the transformation of modern man is that it's a full fathom 5. Adolf M is quintus originum in the Hebraic formula of Avicenna, and the Philos Adolfo modern terminology of Jung, the Chinese proposition that the adjective and preposition of Carl Jung is behavioralism and adjective to noun transformation in third party, the activity of paradoxismus. In other words, it transforms archetypes through its paradoxical contradiction in a duality of modern encyclopedic hierarchic archetypes. So one doesn't really see that modern reality is in Troy, and that modern America is in revolution, because Troy has never been excavated. It's in stasis. There is no time in Troy. It's Persia, China, India, theoretically, the Indo-China policy in modern cultural utopia. Adolf Benza pursues this because Dory Ashton and my colleagues have said that status quo American policy is utopia. Well, I know that it's not finished, so I want to complete it to its proper conjecture and objectivity. So my colleagues in colonial countries and different religious countries do not have to fear the existential policy of being threatened by war to neutrality, dying. But in America, it's just a free choice of political intellectuality. Bringing into quadrature this bilateral hexagrammical octononia into quadratis, quadratis, polyhistor, polytechnique, and theo hegemony, Hessoid, Homer, blindness, etc., archetype literati into modern contemporanea, optological. Modern technology and computer 001 is a soft moric, just like soft pornography or soft Mr. Weisner, or what's his name, Wiesel of... If you're soft, you're soft. Soft moric intellectuality in modern polemical structure is weak. Polarities are usually polyactive and octological. There's a defined at least three manifestations of Abraham, and 3 manifestations of Atreus, and 3 manifestations of Aristotle's abstraction of duality to 3 axes, not as death, but as philosophical abstraction come to optological utopia. Aristoteles and Newton and Galileo and gravity and the modern world between terrorist wars and quadrilateral fascist wars are lucrative economically to the oligarchy and to the industrial complex. That's why there are wars. It's economically profitable. It's secret because of this reason, and our starving division of population in the world is exercising the right to artists that the artists who have and have nots are determined by their economic status. But in fact, it's just another mask for fascismus, as opposed to stripping the mask of fascismus. The 1,000 men of qualities and 1,000 masks become the universal pro bono publicum Galeria Noja Adolf Benza. As People magazine have said, it's Ben-Ca, quote unquote Ca, like Ben Chi. It's Bencaio, the classic form. And in this sense, the Portuguese, the Spanish civil wars, the Otto von Habsburg and the Germanic Kaiser Prinzip to Edward and the Historia of modern England monarchy, modern 500 senators preventing this electromagnetic dialectical transformation, still remains to be seen on an organic level in praxis, because it's all in theory. So Adolf Benza welcomes everyone on board of the Judea ship, and let's see the objectification of praxis in Anatomia come arte, in human social collective consciousness, Galeria Noja.